On RETN's website, they wanted the ability to moderate different types of content. So for example, if a producer were to submit a show that they want RETN to produce or edit for them, they can submit the show form on the site, and that will automatically put it into this needs review queue for RETN. And RETN staff at that point can then review the content, check it off, and choose to approve it or decline it. And in addition to changing the status here, they can also choose whether or not to make the content published or not published. And this type of moderation system can be set up through modules such as Workbench or Workflow, but for RETN, they wanted a much simpler approach, and we were able to achieve that just using views and rules. And so along with this screencast is the documentation on this and some features that you can download so that you can have these same views and rules on your site. So for example, if a user were to be on the RETN website and wanted RETN to produce an event for them, there's a button on the homepage called Cover My Event. And so anyone, whether logged in or not, can choose to submit this event coverage request, where they just submit some very basic information: name, email, the date of the event they're looking for, and a brief description. And the purpose of this form and having it be available to anyone is to help get users onto the site without having to register or create accounts or have other types of permissions. So this opens up a dialogue between RETN staff and the general public. And so after this form is submitted, it will go ahead and show up in this needs review queue as an event coverage request, and RETN staff will also be emailed that someone has submitted a new event coverage request, and that email will direct them to this page to review the content. So they can go ahead and review that coverage request and then also look at other items that may be in the needs review queue. For example, a producer can submit a new show to be reviewed by RETN staff. And so once RETN reviews that content, if they want to approve it, they can go ahead and check it off and choose from any of these items what they want to do. So they can do this for multiple items, all the items in the list, or just one item. They can choose to approve the content, to delete it, to set it back to needs review, to publish the content, to decline the content, to send an email related to that content, or to unpublish the content. And so in this case, we're going to choose to approve the content and click execute. This will ask us to confirm that we want to approve that item, and you'll then see it has left the needs review queue, and up on this area we have other tabs we can look at, and in the approved queue we would now see that event coverage request show up as approved. And this allows us to track when things are done, and creates new revisions of them, and allows RETN staff to see what shows have been approved versus declined and what shows need review. And so also up here you'll see there's a decline tab. So then in addition, what RETN wanted to do is anyone can also submit what's called an air request. And so on the RETN website, on any show, there's an option here to request an air date of that show. And so if you click this, again, you'll be taken to a similar form where you can submit your contact information and additional notes, and it will then fire off an email to RETN that says this show has an air request submitted. And they wanted, because there are more air requests coming in than any other type of content, they actually wanted a separate view for that, where we can come in and see what has been requested. And then those, again, the same thing, that can just be approved or declined, or published, which in the case of RETN, they don't publish their error requests. And so all this view is it's the exact same thing as these others. It's just specific to the content type for error requests. And so you see you can choose to filter by the moderation status. And so that's how they deal with content moderation on RETN, and it can really be applied to any different content type. And the way that that's set up is it's simply just a field that is added. It's a field called content moderation that staff can see but that the public can't see. And so that field is combined with rules in order to set the status automatically or manually. So here, when we check this off and choose to approve content, all we're really doing is changing a single field from the needs review state to the approved state. And so the features that are attached to the documentation on this will give you that field, which you can then add to any content type, along with these three views, the needs review, approved, and declined views. And then if you wanted to, you could then clone those views and create them specific to content types if you were interested.